going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 79 of the RXP podcast, the podcast where three working professionals talk all about their love for movies, TV shows, and video games. I'm one of your hosts, Matt, and today I am joined by Tiffany.
Hello, one of my favorite topics to talk about today.
Oh, yes, we have so much to talk about, honestly. And Alex.
I swear, listeners, we're not dead. We're back. I know it's been a while since the last episode, but we're here again.
Oh my gosh.
How long has it been, honestly?
A month?
Well,
has it been
as
a
of
month?
recording, I think it's been a month. But for the listeners, who knows how long it's been?
I know. I still got some thumbnails to make. I'm so far behind. Life gets busy.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the beautiful part of our podcast because we're RXP, recommended experiences. These are three working professionals.
Exactly.
This is not our day job. This is just filling in.
Having fun.
What do we
Keeping
do
in
in
touch.
our free time?
Yeah.
Exactly. Guys, we have so much to talk about because today the topic is going to be what have we been doing? We know we've not been recording. We haven't been recording a podcast unless you guys started a side hustle, like some side podcast on the end. Other than that, what have you guys been doing? You guys traveled, right? Like I know you guys did some traveling.
Yep.
In between travels, what have you guys been up to? Tiffany, what's been going on?
So if I'm going to be completely honest, y'all, I have kind of hit a pause on Hogwarts Legacy only
Okay.
because of all the travel that I've been doing.
Gotcha.
And I'm ready to get back into it. Like my March is looking a little. Oh wait, March is almost over.
March is almost over.
My April is looking a little free-ish, so I'm excited to kind of get back into that. But video game wise, honestly, I've been really playing and still playing Marvel Snap. It's been a lot.
Do you think that you're like dying down with Marvel Snap?
Every time
or are you like still strong?
Every time I think I am, I buy the season pass. I'm looking at the shop every 8 hours. Now there's even more reason to look at the shop because I have yet to claim my free card. Have you claimed your free card yet, Matt?
I just updated Alex. I was telling her before you jumped on Discord. I had a really busy day yesterday. And when you guys were texting about the new patches, I just wasn't looking at my phone. I came back to like 30 messages from you guys. And so I like read them all after the fact. And I'm like, it's been literal hours. Like I can't text them back about this. But anyway, I did read all the patch notes that you guys talked about.
Yeah.
And then I finally updated the app today.
Okay.
So I still haven't claimed because I think he's like a fish guy.
Atuma?
It's not Anchor.
Atuma?
I'm not sure. If
Orca?
you're like the Orca. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Orca was in my shop. I was like, not about this life.
Right
so
now,
I
have
Go ahead.
M'Baku, and I'm like, do I just get him for the memes? Like, do I just claim M'Baku because? And I'm like, I'm never going to put him in my deck, though. I don't know.
Have you seen those posts on Reddit where M'Baku comes in and like
And he's like, no
decreases
room.
the points?
Oh, what?
And then people lose because he like comes in
To like a negative
one
zone
of those
or
where
something?
it's like, or I've seen one where it's like the one where it's like +5 if you're the only card there.
Yeah.
And then M'Baku's like swept in and they lost that lane.
Oh.
And then they lost the match. I'm like,
God.
I have way too many trust issues for this card. That card is never hitting my deck.
You're right. I'm not claiming him. After that, I'm not claiming M'Baku.
I feel like there was like a time when he got introduced that it was just all over Reddit. And it's hilarious, but like also really scary.
You know what? That kind of makes sense if he came out in November and I wasn't playing then. So like I didn't know about that, but that makes sense. And I didn't thank you for cautioning me because now I will not claim M'Baku. And when I open him from a box, I'll just be really sad about it. But yeah, honestly, like Marvel Snap has kept my attention, and it doesn't help that Alex and I have spent some time together in the last month.
Okay.
That was part of my traveling. And we were feeding off each other's frenzy. Like we would wake up in the morning and I'm like, I have Black Widow in my shop. And he's like, I have Agatha or what, we're just like updating each other. And because when I went to visit and everything. And so like then we're like playing games like together but separate, and then we'd each be like, look at my screen, like we're like, look, I just won, and like, or he's like watching me play, he's like, don't do that, you should just leave, and I'm like not leaving, and then I lose, and he's like, I told you to leave. And then and then he will come over and be like, hey, should I make this is the play, look at this play, I just made this play, I committed, is he oh, he just left, look at that, like, so it's the community, the familia, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, so that's been really fun.
I was going to save this for later, but there's so much energy right now that I need to mention it now. So, I too, as Tiffany mentioned, been playing a lot of Marvel Snap. And most importantly, I want to point out, this past weekend, particularly on this past Sunday, I played Snap for 8 hours.
It's more than me. Matt
8 hours.
8 hours. Basically, that's all I did. This
That's a
past
work
Sunday,
day.
that's all I did. I snapped. I was snapping.
Snap happy.
But
Oh my
it was
gosh.
specifically because, and I want to direct you guys to the general chat and Discord.
Oh my god, is he gonna send us a screenshot that he hit infinite? I swear to God. Oh my god, the madman did it!
Wow.
Oh my god, you were waiting till today, weren't you?
And
Didn't
so what's
tell
funny is
anybody.
Tiffany actually asked me yesterday, or a couple days ago, how high I got while I was playing Snap for that much. And I just told her, yeah, I hit like 88. It's whatever. Little did she know I was lying to her because I was holding off to reveal that, yes, on Sunday, after 8 hours of grinding, I went all the way from 84 to 100.
In 5.
In this case, 105. And I broke Infinite for the first time since playing Snap all the way back, in the Love and Thunder season last July. But I did it.
And that was that your goal?
Made
Was that
it.
one of your goals?
I got the card back.
It's one of your goals, isn't it?
No, my goal is to hit 90, and I'm not even getting there.
Oh, dude,
So-
that's madness. That's absolutely madness.
I'm so excited for
I'm
you.
like sitting at 37.
And so
little
it
bit
wasn't one of my goals for the year, but it was something specifically I wanted to do. So it wasn't like a goal that I made for the episode we recorded, a few episodes ago. But it was something I wanted to do because, right, as I mentioned before, back in January, I tried for it. I capped out at 91. I was struggling. I was playing a Destroyer ongoing deck, and it just wasn't getting me there. But I knew if I could get that close to Infinite, that I could get there, go all the way if I just had the time. And just for clarity's sake, so I did get there when After Second Dinner made the adjustment to climbing rank. So every time you break a new 10th rank, so 70, 80, 90, you get an extra 5 ranks instead of just 1. So that basically shortens the amount of games you need to play because that's half the amount of ranks you need to climb. And so, not to say it makes it any easier, but at least it takes less time to get there. And so with this change, I knew it was time to try and go for it. Not to say I was worried that they would revert the change, but just that if I wanted to do it now, it'd be a perfect time. And on top of that, on Sunday, as Marvel Snap Second Dinner like to do with their game, they made Project Pegasus the hot location. And for those of you that don't know, Project Pegasus is this turn you gain +5 energy. And so with that in mind, knowing that that location would appear 50% of my games, I used Matt's favorite card in order to help me climb, Professor X.
Nice.
And the moment Project Pegasus revealed, I was slapping that bad man down somewhere and locking it down, getting a free win most of the time. There were a few times where I ended up losing because they played into the same lane. So I just instantly lost one location. But most of the time, it won me a lane, so I just had to focus on the other 2 lanes. And I did it using a MODOK discard deck. So this is, revolve around Swarm, Apocalypse, Morbius, Dracula, the classics. But particularly with MODOK, able to thin the hand, make sure that on turn 6, I only have Apocalypse in hand, right? Because I've played everything else out.
Yeah.
And Tiffany, I recommend to her, and I told her that's why I capitalized when I texted you. I can assure you that deck can reach Infinite because I was able to do it.
Nice.
And so, I recommend it for those of you out there. Obviously there was kind of a meta shift in terms of like a lot of big cards got changed recently. So a lot of people are probably worried about how to climb, but this deck was untouched for the most part. So you can still play no problem. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing, and at least now that I've proven to myself I can do it, not to say I won't do it again, but I'm less, dedicated to it, right? Because obviously there's a lot of other things I want to get to, but at least now that I have 1 month, have that nice golden X-Men card back in my collection.
That is a really cool card.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Why did they make the gold one infinite? Because X-Men is yellow. That's like the classic. Like when I think of X-Men, you know what I mean? I think of those classic costumes. Mm-hmm. I'm so envious.
Yeah. Listen, I still play every day.
Mm-hmm.
I am not as committed to the grind because I have been doing a lot of everything else in my life, and I'm getting to the point where each and every day it's being a little bit maybe more of a chore for me to like get through and like make sure I do my dailies. I before, like even just like a month ago, I was like clearing out my challenges, like 0 out of 6 challenges. Then I would just have to wait like 8 hours, right?
Right.
I have not seen 0 challenges in a few weeks. Like I've always have like 2 or 3 or sometimes 4. And the first time since I started playing, I didn't do my challenges at 6 out of 6. And then when they refreshed, I didn't get any new challenges. Like this is the first time since I've been playing at launch. So, or not launch, when I started playing last fall. So I'm enjoying it. That's the thing. I'm still having fun. I'm definitely not putting in 8 hours. Oh my gosh, Alex, you madman.
Honestly, this time shift though for daylight, for those in America, or like those that aren't familiar, America just went through daylight savings time, and now our reset times are shifted an hour. And this later time for us, like we're in the Eastern time zone, so it used to hit 6, 2, and 10. Now it's 7, 3, and 11. And the 11 p.m. reset is really dragging me down because I liked the 10 p.m. where I could basically still go to bed by 11. But now, like at 11, sometimes I don't go to bed till midnight if my day just became so busy, right? Like, I don't know. Or I'm just trying to clear up my challenges in case I can't get to it, by next day. Whatever. Obviously, first world problem. Here we are. I'm just glad we have content. Matt, ever since I've been all in, which was why I was very hesitant to start this game in the first place. Like I knew it would have its hooks in me. So I've bought every season pass since I started. I went ahead and bought Nimrod's pass, this current pass, even though I didn't care. Like you know what I don't know. It's just like so much for me, so much value with like the extra like things the pass gives you, like gold and like boosters, and like I'm like, you know what, I can save 50 cents from Target if I buy a Google Play gift card. let me get it. So honestly, very fun game. I'm still in it. We'll see how we are in 3 months. 3 months from now I could have also maybe skipped all my challenges because I've moved on. But
I mean, you need to at least play until you hit your resolution. That's the
90
mandate.
Oh god,
hashtag goals. What are you at right now?
77.
Okay. What did you start it at?
I started at 40 this season because I got to 70 and never hit 80, and then I did hit 80 and then I dropped below. I think that's what it was. I hit 80 and then I dropped to 78 and I was like, oh, it's done. Like I'm not making it. And so then I dropped to 40. So then I've been powering through, but
gotcha.
Yeah, it's been fun. I have this season mostly been playing the MODOK deck. Obviously that's only because, well, not obviously, but I bought last month's pass, which was MODOK. So those who didn't buy the pass would probably not have MODOK by now unless they were super lucky with the opening of the boxes. But it is fun. I'm still having a lot of fun with that. Also, in regards to a TV show, a small TV show that I want to talk about. Well, actually, there's a couple, but this one, The Last of Us, I have not finished. it.
Okay.
I have 2 episodes left, but I'm very much enjoying my time with that show. Papa Pascal is my favorite Papa in television right now.
Oh, okay. So like him collectively
Yeah.
over multiple shows.
Yes. Papa.
Got it.
Papa
okay,
Mando.
that makes way more sense.
Papa Joel. You know what I'm saying? He's a good Papa.
You're up to date on Mandalorian?
So today is Wednesday, and I have not watched today's episode. But
Here's the thing.
I have seen 3 episodes.
I finished Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like, I don't know, did you know the story at all?
I did. I do.
You did? Okay.
I do.
This was all brand new for me.
Okay.
Like, I've never seen anything.
Oh, yes, tell me.
Honestly, like, here's the thing. I have heard mumblings about Last of Us, like little spoilers here and there, or what I thought were spoilers, or maybe like when someone would talk on the podcast, I would like fast forward through it. But sometimes you like catch the end of a sentence, and then your mind kind of like fills in the blank.
Yes.
So I actually thought I knew what happened at the end of season 1, and I didn't. I definitely didn't know what was going on. So maybe it's Last of Us Part 2 that I got spoiled on. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I love that show. That show was awesome. I think some people were like, oh, it's the same story. For me, hey, all brand new. All brand new for me. It was awesome. Great action. The characters were super fun. Very believable. It was depressing, but like fantastic. Like just well written, well directed. Loved it from start to finish. Mandalorian, on the other end, I've actually only watched the first episode.
And that didn't grip you? No, the first episode has been pretty strong for me.
I am like, I like being in this world again, but I want to do something else with my time for right now. Like, so I'm planning on finishing it. Like, of course, like I really enjoy it. I just haven't kind of been in the mood for it, I guess. Like I fully plan to, especially when the season ends, I'll probably just like blow through it very quick.
Just wait until it's all out there. I mean, that makes
I guess my concern is Mandalorian, and this goes with any show. I've always been a little bit concerned, and I think I'm getting more concerned of should this show have ended after the main quest was done. And I don't know the answer to that. Okay. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, that makes me less like excited to see it because I'm worried that they're just going to ruin it. So I don't know. I enjoyed the first episode. It wasn't like fantastic, but it was good.
Episode 3 was my least favorite episode so
really?
far. Because
okay.
I was just like, I'm not vibing with this right now. Like, can I fast forward?
Yeah.
But with The Last of Us, I was watching it in chunks at a time. So like I'd watch like a couple episodes together at a time. Did you watch week by week, Matt?
Week by week.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Dang. That must have been some like waiting.
It's intense. Yeah. It was really intense because like Maddie and I had no idea what was happening day by day. And she's like, is he dead? Like, is he going to die?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of think I know, but it turns out I didn't know. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But then it was really interesting. And then kind of jumping on Twitter and kind of seeing what other people were talking about. And a lot of like, supposedly the same discourse was happening of like, the ending of Last of Us Part 1. Is Joel a good guy? And like seeing kind of like the discourse that happened initially in 2013, whenever Last of Us Part 1 came out. It's kind of interesting because I wasn't part of that zeitgeist, but now I am. Because it's almost like it brought up like old wounds for some of these people. Like these people came out of the woodwork and was like, I told you so. You know, like people just going crazy. But yeah, I love that show. Like honestly, it's one of the new standard for me for video game adaptations. I know we've talked about it in the past, but like this looks good to me. Like it's getting people who don't care anything about video games to ask about a video game.
Yeah, like I have friends at my new job that have never played it and are watching it and love it.
Alex, did you watch any of it?
No, so I'm in the boat where for neither The Mandalorian nor Last of Us have I started either. I do have access to both, so I do intend on getting through both, but they're not like up on the docket yet because something else is consuming my time right now. But as you guys pointed out, I just want to also bring light to how effective it is or how important it is that something like The Last of Us can reach such a broad audience. As they mentioned, I think I saw statistics. It's HBO's, or at least HBO Max's like second most like watched like new show, like just behind, I think it was Game of Thrones, right? So the fact that this almost had near right only second to one of the most famous shows in the past decade or so,
Yeah.
to show that games have good story or can have good story. And I think being like having this adapted from the game to a show format and bringing that to the audience that more than likely most of the people that watch it will never play the game or any of the games, despite them already announcing that part 2 is going to be adapted and that'll probably be over the course of 2 seasons. It's going to be very interesting to see the general discourse around people theorizing what's going to happen right when, like, here we are, the game came out in 2020, part 2 that is, and we've known what the story is this whole time. And so by the time season 2 and season 3 of the show come out, we're probably going to be 5, 6, 7 years removed. And so it's definitely going to be a similar thing of reliving, the discourse and seeing people's opinions of like, should this character have done that? Should this have happened? Like, why did this happen? And it definitely is that thing where, when I finished and got the platinum for Last of Us Part 2, I was really, I was torn between saying it was a good game because I think it was such a good story for me that I'm like, this is a good experience, but I don't know if it's a good game because I don't know if I want to play the game ever again. Like, this is one of those times where I went through it and it was such an emotional story that by the end of it, I was tired. And I'm like, man, I had to play through it twice or like basically twice to get the platinum, but I think I might be like done for good. Whereas like stuff, even like Last of Us Part 1, I've played through, I think 3 times, that campaign not being as long as Part 2 is, but it goes to show that was right such a good game and story, but part 2 being so much more complicated. I'm interested to see the public perception of it because especially there's a few moments where I'm like, I don't know like how like bringing this story to a wider audience is going to go as opposed to the only few, maybe 10 or 20 million people that played the game. So
yeah, I'm excited. I like it. It's definitely one of those things where I want to play part 1 now, and I'll play part 2 likely before season 2 comes out. Because I think they're projecting 2025 for season 2.
Yeah.
And that's only going to be the first half of part 2. So, like, I should definitely be done that. So, it'll be interesting to see next season, because I'll flip from, like, someone who knows nothing to someone who's seen it before. Very interesting. I will say, I've really enjoyed The Last of Us. My favorite thing that I've watched, and something I wanted to bring up, is actually a documentary. Have you guys heard of Player 2 Productions' Psych Odyssey?
No.
I have the documentary of the making of Psychonauts 2.
Yes. It is. I guess it shadow dropped. Like, they just dropped 32 episodes on YouTube and said, hey, we've documented it all. Like, this is straight from Double Fine. We have 32 episodes about the development of Psychonauts 2. Like, here it is. Like, just very transparent. And so it's probably close to 20 some hours of documentary. And it's amazing. Like, honestly, one of the best pieces of media I have consumed and like addicted to consumed, always trying to watch more and trying to get through it, but also like regretting that episode 32 was on the horizon and like I was going to have to say goodbye to this documentary. Honestly, one of my favorite things that I've consumed in the past few years. Like this, when we're talking about end of the year best experiences, I'm pretty sure it's a lock for me. Like, it is something that I would be shocked if something non-gaming is, if there's enough non-gaming stuff that knocks it off my list. Like it is one of those things where it was just so fascinating. Like they documented for 10 years, just right before Psychonauts 2, it went through the pandemic, it went through the Microsoft acquisition of Double Fine. Like there's so many cool and interesting things about game development that I just didn't know. And more than anything, like it was just about the people of Double Fine. Like people left, people got upset about changes in the development. And you know what? They had a meeting and someone kind of like makes a snide comment and they kind of zoom in on them and they're like, oh, you could tell they're not happy. Like I've seen that same face at my workplace now. And then like the next episode, that person leaves. And like they're like, yeah, just
Oh, so they left there to join your workplace.
No, not my workplace. Yeah. Who knows where they went to? Like people were in places of power and like it turned into like a toxic work group. And then it's like them working through that and Tim Schafer, who's the studio head, like having to make tough decisions for the sake of his company. And like, honestly, it's one of those things where I cried multiple times.
Whoa.
Watching this movie, like this documentary. Like it was so much about the people. It was so much about being transparent with everything. Nothing was off limits. Like there was barely any editing out conversations. Like tough conversations were happening. And this was also a game that I loved. Like it was on my top 6. It was on Alex's top 6. Like Psychonauts 2 was an awesome game. And to see like when they're talking about early stage of development, I'm like, I don't remember what they're talking about. Like I do not remember this stage. And it's because it went through so many iterations that like it's just, you can't even recognize it by the end product. So it's a huge recommendation. Like if you're interested in game development, Alex, you said that you heard of it. Have you started it at all?
No, so it's also on my to-do list along with Mandalorian and The Last of Us. I think in a way, I know I mentioned this on a previous episode that part of the reason why I liked Tomorrow is because that was more of a fictionalized take on game development. But at least it gave kind of an insight to say, I'm pretty sure the author has never been involved in game development, but it's this idea of saying, right, like these are real people, right? When you get the game and you play it and you see this kind of creative technical piece, right, and you're enjoying it for what it is, most people usually skip the credits, but you realize, right, typically, some of these credits these days, they run for like 15, 20, 30 minutes. Like these are hundreds, if not thousands of people that, even in small roles are involved in the making of these things. And I really appreciated that novel kind of shedding light to say, hey, realize that while they're making this game, there's still a lot of also other things that they have to deal with, right, just as human people. And I feel like part of Psychosity is that revelation to say, hey, we're going to show you that real human interaction that these people are having meetings on the day-to-day, right? Like they have to deal with, we were just a choir, and so now we have this kind of weird like ownership now, but then we still have to put it out due to previous agreements or whatever, or who knows. And then also switching to the whole pandemic development lifestyle and getting a sneak peek behind like how do devs actually get that done, right, when everything's supposed to be safe and secure. You don't want any leaks of the game or code or whatever going out. But then also just having that as insight to say, listen, realize that when things get delayed or things take a while to come out, here's like a free public thing to say, here are the reasons why they may come out. Maybe someone has had, personal issues. Maybe there's technical issues. Maybe, it's some weird management thing that the people on the ground actually making the game have no say in, right? And not to say I, think that that's what's in there. I mean, I expect that to be in there just due to the fact that, right, it took, I think it was like 7-8 years for the game to actually come all the way out. But I appreciate those insights, right? Because me being someone that maybe eventually wants to be in game development, that's something I want to keep in mind to say, hey, I might have a vision for something, but it might take me, decade plus, hopefully not that long, maybe less than a few years to get something out the door. But that's going to be a long journey with a lot of, winding decisions you have to make to like get across the finish line.
Like I cannot recommend it enough. honestly. It is such a human project. Like it almost reminds me of Boyhood. Was it Boyhood? The one where they like.
Oh, there was Raising Kratos, right? Are you talking about the God of War?
No, I think he's talking about that movie that was filmed over like 12 years or something.
Yeah,
okay.
It was like an Oscar movie.
Yeah,
and it was something where they filmed this boy's childhood basically. But it's very interesting. I am not someone who's in game development. Like I work in health system, and couldn't be further from what they are. Like they are very much artists.
Yeah.
They're creative types. This is very opposite of the people in my meetings day in and day out. Like it is, we're more analytical and we're looking at different ways, but it's so interesting to see what they deal with in their workspace and how much that reflects to my workspace. Like it's the weirdest thing. It's almost like it just feels very human.
Problems? Like,
yeah, it's the same problems, but just like a different shade. And honestly, it's like I learned from it of like, hey, how do you lead a group? How do you get someone motivated? How do you give someone ownership to something that they are brand new at? And that's something for me, I'm like trying to reflect on for me and myself, because hey, I deal with a lot of young practitioners, and like, how do I get them motivated? And sometimes recently, I feel like I've just been like beating my head against the wall, like trying to figure out how to do this. And it was really interesting to watch this documentary because I was like, okay, other people in other fields, like even if they're super creative, they deal with the same thing that I do. So I can't recommend enough. I got really emotional multiple times because like you get to know Double Fine. And when they start winning and they meet a milestone and they start feeling moved, like because you know them and it's like such a huge project that like you're watching them for 20 plus hours, you just can't help yourself. Like I teared up multiple times, teared up big time at the finale because it was just like, man, I feel like I know these people. Like I looked them up. I looked up some of them on LinkedIn just to see what they're doing now. And a lot of them are still there. It's cool. It makes me very excited to see where they go from here. It was something that I did not have on my radar, but honestly, one of the best experiences I've had in the past couple of years. So if that at all interests you, just take a peek.
How did you stumble across it?
It's really worthwhile. Min-Max. I love Min-Max content. I think Ben Hansen, I've said it multiple times, I think he's one of the best interviewers in general. And he fell in love with it. And he actually made bonus content of him interviewing Tim Schafer, him interviewing Two Player Productions, the company that did the documentary. Uh-huh. So I was like, oh, I gotta see all these new things. I actually haven't watched his interviews, but it was really good. I also, I don't know if you can tell, like my voice is maybe a little bit shoddy. A couple weeks ago, I actually got the flu. So I was, for like a weekend, I was just like sitting on the couch, and it was comfort food to watch this documentary and just like sit and watch and do this. So yeah, fantastic. One of the best things that I've done this year.
That's amazing.
I don't even know how to top it.
Yeah, I know. Alex, say something that you've done.
Okay, so in the similar line of watching things, I want to go back to, our resolutions. And right, my minor resolution was getting through my watching backlog. So in particular, two things I watched. The first being, Tiffany and I, as we mentioned, we were watching Big Bang Theory. We finally finished it. It's done.
Nice.
12th season. We realized we had watched actually a little bit of it, so in reality we only had like almost half the season to go. Yeah. But we wasted a lot of time rewatching the beginning of it. We're like, do we know what happens? And then we realized, yes, we do know what happens. So we skipped ahead and finally to the parts that we didn't watch. Finished it. Honestly, I don't recommend anyone in this day and age in 2023 to go back and watch it, because I feel like the humor and a lot of the jokes are of the era. So I don't recommend it from a, kind of going back to it kind of perspective. But I'd say if you had watched any part of it, it wraps up nicely. I won't spoil it here,
I
but it's
teared
something
up
that,
at the end.
yeah,
if
you appreciate that story, I think it has a very soft and fun ending that makes sense, and it's satisfying, right? Because I feel like, especially for things that run for more than even Last of Us, right, potentially might only be 3 seasons, not that long, runtime wise. But when you look at even sitcoms, right, that run for more than a decade, that's a long time to be watching these. Like, that's a whole generation's worth of like experiences, and being able to stick the landing is something I've always been afraid of, because right, having also previously finished Supernatural, that was something where I'm like, how is this going to end? And that in a way being slightly less satisfying, but it's still good for the characters. I would say Big Bang Theory at least does steps it up a notch and is a much better ending for its story, and so I really appreciate it. So that was a good time. And then the other thing being The Glass Onion, a Knives Out story.
Fantastic.
Yeah, watched it. I would say I don't like it as much as the first. I think the first is a better mystery. But I do love the acting in the second one. Like, I think it's a great movie. It being available on Netflix. If you have Netflix, go watch it. I recommend it. I think in some ways it's a little bit more predictable, mostly because I feel like some of the story paths are set up very blatantly, except for there's a couple of twists where I didn't expect it. But if you're more keen observer, you'd probably notice to be like, that doesn't make sense, and then realize, okay, that's why it didn't make sense, because it was supposed to be something else. But I really enjoyed it. It was something I watched on the plane too, because I was traveling over this period, and so it really filled that void. And time flew by. I was able to watch all of it, and it was a great time.
Didn't you watch one other thing, Alex? You watched another thing. Do you not have it on your list?
Oh, I did watch another thing. I forgot. My bad.
Gosh.
So the third thing I watched
and
finished, and that is The Witcher Season 2.
Okay.
So that was also on my backlog now. So it is on my list. I realized I forgot to mark it off, which is why I didn't realize to talk about it. So let me mark it off right now.
On your notepad.
On your notepad.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it?
Season 2, yes.
Did you not watch it, Matt?
I don't think so. I think I'm still halfway through, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I think it does a real, not being Blood Origin, right? So we
don't watch Blood Origin. Don't watch
here.
Blood Origin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way it further develops the characters, and at least, right, we still have confirmation that Henry Cavill will be Geralt at least for one more season, right, for season 3. I would say that this definitely solidifies that, the story and the acting really lead up to this next season. And so definitely, if you enjoyed season 1, I'd say get through season 2, because I feel like season 3 is really going to be where, at least, for Cavill, will be the end of this story, because we're going to go through this journey, and there's hopefully some sort of culmination, even though we know the story is going to proceed past season 3. I think at least you can enjoy what these 3 seasons, I feel like, will be kind of like a mini arc or an arc in and of itself. And there's a lot of heart, I think, and which is why I enjoyed it. Like, a lot of the story in season 2 involves the bonds between characters, and really that is what pulls me into it, to say, right, I don't really care about the world. Honestly, the world is like any other medieval fantasy where there's monsters, there's magic, and then there's knights in armor, right? There's nothing that in the world really stands it apart. Wrinkly armor.
Yeah.
But maybe the monsters look different too, because it's like I've never seen like a treant in Harry Potter or whatever, right? Or I guess technically the Whomping Willow is a treant. I don't know. It's not really a treant.
No, it's not.
It's just a sentient tree.
It's not sentient.
It's not sentient. It's just reflexive.
I mean, it's like a piranha plant, or not a piranha plant, but like a Venus flytrap.
Petey?
No,
Petey piranha.
No, I mean, I think it's supposed to be like a Venus flytrap. It just does.
Oh, okay.
It just.
Do you think Petey the piranha plant is sentient?
Petey the piranha plant is definitely sentient.
Yeah, he's sentient.
Man,
I mean, you play him in Smash.
Super Mario Sunshine.
You're not playing Petey in Smash. He's playing you. That's how sentient he is.
That's not even Petey.
That's not
just
Petey.
That's just a piranha plant.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
now
close enough.
Is every piranha plant sentient? That's the question.
It's a hive mind. They're all connected to Petey, and Petey controls every piranha plant.
Honestly, that's the scariest part of The Last of Us, which they played up in the first few episodes and then never touched it ever again.
Yeah.
It's if you touch the vine, all these people are gonna wake up and come rip your face off.
Yeah.
And then they never got into that situation ever again.
Yeah.
It's wow, they really learned their lesson. They're we're going to the middle of Wyoming and we're never coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I'd recommend it, especially if you watch season 1. So for you, Matt, yes.
Okay.
Finish season 2.
That's good to know. So there was a couple other shows that I want to at least shout out to say that I watched it, because I feel like I've done a lot of watching, which is great. Because Last of Us was so impactful, went through the director's old project,
Chernobyl,
which was Chernobyl.
Oh God, that
was
so heavy.
Awesome.
I know, so good, but so heavy.
It was so heavy, and the reason it was so heavy is because it was freaking true.
I know.
It was true.
That's what bothered me the most.
Watching them make these stupid decisions about everything to do with radiation, every choice that they're doing, it's oh no, oh no, oh no, they're gonna die. And then at the end, it's yeah, everybody who watched it from the bridge died. It's yeah, of course they died. Of course they did. This is just awful. It was really good though. Everybody has been telling me, okay, you've got HBO, you need to watch Chernobyl. And I finally did it, and honestly, it was so good. Just so good. Chef's kiss. One of the best things on HBO Max, and it's only 4 episodes.
I think it's 5.
4 or 5,
4
maybe?
or 5. Yeah, I think it's 5. But yeah, it was short and sweet.
Yeah, very short and sweet. I also watched White Lotus. I'm fine either way.
What? Really? Because you told me you
themes,
binged watched it and stayed up too late.
It was one of those. It's one of those car crashes you just can't stop looking at. It's one of those shows where it's so awful. The people are so terrible to each other. So of course you just have to watch. You have to watch more. At the end of it, I was okay, I won't rewatch any of these seasons. But when season 3 happens, I'll probably watch it. It's one of those things where it's okay. I just gotta know,
Okay. Because I kind of want to watch it. Have
you heard the theme song?
No.
Okay, you're all's homework, and everybody at home, go listen to the theme song of White Lotus, because it is, one, it's weird, but play it twice. The first time you can judge it a little bit. Second time, you'll be bopping. It is awesome. It's so good.
Okay.
I love it so much.
Okay.
Honestly, I think that's the best part of the entire show. Honestly.
The theme song? And you're
so
take
good.
it or leave it with the plot?
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. It is one of those things where it's this makes me hate humanity as a whole.
Oh, see, that's tough.
Because,
that's tough.
Because at the end of each season, you're just
I hate
no one
everyone.
is good.
Oh, no.
I don't like anyone. Even the person that's oh, they're really sweet. It's no, then they do something stupid in episode 6, and you're dang it, Karen. Why did you do that?
Because she's Karen. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, Matt here is just watching all these depressing shows.
I know. So then I decided I'm going to go watch a show that comes out soon. The last season comes out, I think, in a couple days. And that's Succession. So we started watching Succession season 1, and it's pretty good so far. We haven't really gotten too far into it. Have you guys seen it?
No, because I don't care about
wanted to bring this
espionage. I don't really.
Okay, all right. I mean, see if you guys had seen it.
I guess that's kind of debatable because I will watch the Korean drama version of corporate espionage.
Okay.
But yeah, Succession didn't really seem up my alley. There were no dragons or swords.
There was no dragons, no swords. Got it.
No
so
trees.
That's your criteria.
Yeah.
No sentient piranha plants.
Yeah.
To be seen
it didn't really,
anywhere.
And no one was laughing. You know what I'm saying?
But the Super Mario Brothers movie, though, they got piranha plants.
They do, and
they've
got
laughing. A ton of sentient things.
Yeah.
What is a toad?
A mushroom.
Why is it called a toad? Like, why is it called toad?
Toadstools.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
toadstools.
All right, I'll let it.
He's like, I sit corrected.
Yeah.
All right. Like, it's not a great reason, but
wow, Matt, that's kind of wild. Like, you're typically not a TV guy, and you were just like, you're like eating.
I know.
TV.
I'm eating, and it's not even. This is the thing. Alex is like crossing things off his list, and I have not been.
You've just been adding new things to your list. You're like, now I gotta watch season 3.
I had no goal about shows, and I've like been really focused on it. I will say, like, my one movie a week, I'm up to 9 movies. So there's only been 12 weeks so far this year. So I'm pretty close. Like, I'm at least in striking distance. So I should be able to nail that.
You know, you don't need to worry about crossing things off your list, because I think it's that flip side where you feel like you're Squidward in that meme where you're looking out the window and then you see everyone being SpongeBob and Patrick having fun outside, but you're just stuck inside. Where I'm like, I know I would enjoy these things, and not to say I'm intentionally putting them off, but it's that kind of like feels bad moment where if I'm willing to watch this, I should also watch this other thing first. And so that's kind of my motivation too. And so that's why being able to get through stuff like, Glass Onion and Witcher Season 2, I'm happy, right? Because these are things I've wanted to watch, just that they're old. Yeah. So the fact that I got to them now, I'm further clearing the backlog to be able to get to the new stuff, things like Psych Odyssey, which I will eventually watch, despite it being 22 hours and probably longer than anything else I'm going to watch this year. Even longer than the Snyder Cut or Snyder Cut times 5. But that eventually I'll get there. But it is that thing where I'm like, man, I see you're having fun right now. You're enjoying it. I'm like, I can't wait to be there with you. We're probably going to have a conversation definitely at the end of the year about this. It's definitely going to come up now that at least the two of us will probably have watched it by then. So, hopefully I'll be there with you. But as of now, I'm like, just got to trudge through all this other stuff first, and then I can get there.
So what else have you been trudging through?
I was just about to say, like, we've been talking a lot
about shows.
I mean,
we had
some
Snap.
movies.
We popped off on Snap. We were snapping.
That's true. I guess that was a game. But, like, I haven't heard much about games from either of you.
So I really need to get back to Fire Emblem. Like, that
Fire
came
Emblem
out in
Engage.
January, and I was in it for like 6 hours. And that's literally the tutorial. You know what I'm saying?
You've only played 6 hours of Engage?
Yeah, I've only played 6 hours of Engage.
Oh no, Tiffany.
She's
Matt,
disengaged.
it's because it came out like a week before Hogwarts.
Okay. And how many hours have you done in Hogwarts?
19 hours or something.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, wow.
Wait. I'm pretty sure I hit almost 20 hours.
Oh, I finished the story in 19 hours.
Maybe it was 16 hours. I don't know. It's between 16 and 20 hours I was playing that game. And let's be real, you guys. School was a lot. I was in night classes, and the last class.
You're talking about Hogwarts?
I wish.
Like potions class.
Yeah,
so just like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, just
the Professor Garlic. I had to.
Yeah,
make a bunch of plants.
Yeah,
and
get
stuff.
like
It's terrible.
manure all over me. So like my night class for my professional life was just like destroying me this last session.
It's really sad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so honestly on my docket is really Fire Emblem and Hogwarts. I need to get back to it while I balance Snap.
What's your next game releasing this year
that
you are like, I need to play this, so maybe I should get on Hogwarts quick to make room?
That is such a good question, because literally yesterday a friend asked me, are you getting Tears of the Kingdom on release?
Yeah.
And I was like, probably. But then I was like, wait, if I'm saying probably like that, am I getting it? I pre-ordered Final Fantasy 16, so that's coming no matter what.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. It's either gonna be Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom or Final Fantasy 16.
Gotcha. Like, are you gonna use your voucher
So
for Tears of the Kingdom?
I did not purchase the vouchers because
You did not.
No, I'm such a
Okay.
weirdo. I love just having junk in my house. You know?
Okay.
So like I'm like a dragon. Okay, first of all, I basically am a dragon. I like hoarding things in my home and get very
You like shiny things?
Yeah, I like shiny things. So like
This is why you want dragons and swords in your TV shows.
Exactly, because it's like
It all makes
No,
sense.
and then big crabs too.
Big crabs.
For Moana, the big crab.
Oh, don't talk about him. I don't like him. He's like my least favorite part of Moana.
Right, but he likes shiny things.
He does. But yeah, so like I want the physical game. Like, did you guys not hear about the freaking eShop just being shut down? Like,
no, it's still open.
I mean,
you know, anyone that listens to this will be long dead. But if somehow you've hacked in to our data, it's still open for the next few days.
Like, 3DS and Wii U and
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah. So, like, what happens? I mean, granted, let's be real. Who knows in 10 years if I'm even going to be touching my Switch again, because I haven't turned on my 3DS in, like, 4 years. But, like, I want the cartridge that tastes bitter when you try to lick it. You know what I'm saying?
Yum.
Yep.
Yum.
Matt, you look confused. Do you not remember way back when, like, the whole big thing was, like, they didn't want children to eat it because it's so small that they put this weird, like, it's like, you know, when you spray things so that your
like
cats
the sour spray?
don't. Yeah, apparently cartridges taste bad. I never tasted it. But like there were reports that it tasted bad.
Wow.
So that goes to show
the first time I've
who
heard
was
that.
the person to break that news.
That's a great question.
I'm hoping
it was a child.
I'm hoping it was like a press release by Nintendo.
Oh,
They're
Nintendo
like, just so you
officially.
know.
Yeah.
Or it's just like a really in-depth unboxing of like the first Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Also, another reason why I didn't get the vouchers is because you have to get 2 vouchers, and I was like, what the hell is game number 2 going to be for me? And I literally couldn't even name a game that was confirmed release. Pikmin 4, it sounds great, but like I'm not playing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Matt, I didn't want to commit to 2 vouchers.
Funny you should say this, because you know, my Nintendo Switch has been pretty idle, I would say. It's been very idle. And my thinking when I'm starting to look through kind of what games are coming in, you know, I started to try to live again with our fantasy critic.
Yeah?
I actually claimed Tachia, which came out yesterday.
How'd
it
that
got like
do?
a 77, so it was fine.
Okay.
You know, I was like, this is going to be like a Stray game, like for better, for worse, but you know, it's positive points, whatever. But then I started looking and I was like, Tears of the Kingdom comes out in May. I gotta beat Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild again.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, let me just log on my Nintendo Switch. Logged on Nintendo Switch. My buddy James, he actually invited me to his family plan so that I like have some of like that additional content.
Yeah.
Then just got sucked in to my Nintendo Switch. So I've actually been playing the past few nights. I started playing the Minish Cap, Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap for Game Boy Advance that I've never played before.
Yeah.
So I've been playing it on like whatever their virtual console is called now. Nintendo Online, whatever.
Nintendo Switch Online, NSO.
For Game Boy Advance. And it's awesome. Like, it's ported so well. It's a fun game. I'm really enjoying it. And it's like getting me in the mood to play Legend of Zelda. My plan is to finish Minish Cap. I've just like been playing it like at night. And it's just been super fun. And then after that, I'm just gonna boot up Breath of the Wild, see where I'm at, and get the Master Sword and beat Ganon and like get prepped for May 12th. Because I'm gonna play it on launch. I bought 2 vouchers as of 2 days ago.
Excellent.
So like me asking you, like if you got your vouchers, I bought my 2 vouchers because for $100 you get 2 vouchers and 70 of those bucks is going to be one game. Like to me, that is such an awesome deal. And like, it's going to be $70 for like the next 8 years. When it then gets, sold for $60 instead of $70
yeah.
for like Black Friday.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one, to be honest. I think like maybe if Pikmin gets a good review or a couple good reviews, maybe
it better.
That's
it's on my Fancy Critic.
Yeah, like maybe.
What about Fire Emblem?
It might also, yeah, exactly. That Fire Emblem has been my back pocket where it's like, you know what? I love Fire Emblem. So if nothing else, at the end of this 365-day period, because it's like expires 365
from the day
days. So
yeah.
March 20th or whatever it was, 2024. If nothing else, like maybe, hey, here's me just being very hopeful. You guys come closer.
I'm coming. I'm here.
What if Metroid Prime 4 releases next January? 1, I would lose my mind. But 2, I would use a voucher for that. So, like, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought you were going to ask for Mario Odyssey 2.
That's probably more realistic, and I would love that too. But the thing is like, I'm falling in love with my Nintendo Switch again. I've been throwing so much shade, but like, I saw Cecil online, and I was like, I haven't spoken to him since Animal Crossing, but like, I'm really glad that he's playing Nintendo 64 Virtual Console, and I'm just vibing over here on the Game Boy Advance. Like, this is peak gaming, guys. Like, this is it.
So there's
community,
you know?
It's familia.
There's just something about Nintendo.
Familia
that, like,
plan.
Yeah.
These first party games, even those that were like in 2005 when Minish Cap came out, like, I never touched it, and now I'm touching it, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'm having so much fun playing that at night.
That's all. Wait, so is Tears of the Kingdom your next release then, technically?
I think so. Like, right now, I had a pretty heavy first half of the year where like I was interested in a lot of games. Reviews came out to where I was maybe not in a rush to play some of those games.
Right.
But like a current game, like my main game that I'm playing right now is Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Like, it is.
Okay.
It was on Game Pass. It's a Soulsborne game, very similar to Neo. Is it the same developers as Neo?
It is. It's the same dev team.
It is like a stripped down version of Neo. I think it's a little bit easier than what I've experienced from Neo. I don't know if anybody else feels that way or if that's like the consensus. But it is a beautiful game, and it is so much fun. I played it for like 3 hours before this recording today.
Whoa,
like,
dang!
Yeah, so like it's definitely, as soon as I platinumed Hogwarts Legacy, like I put 50 hours in that game. As soon as I stopped, I was like, gotta download Wolong because this game looks awesome, and it is so much fun. So like balancing Wolong, which is like very technical, very intense, kind of frustrating, and then at night playing a fun Game Boy Advance game, like it is this weird thing where the dopamine is just like high all the time.
I love
like
that.
I'm enjoying this Soulsborne experience, but also like enjoying just winding down, talking to little elves with, Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. Like, it's so much fun. So I think my next one, maybe Redfall, which is like the beginning of May.
Okay.
And I think previews just came out, and I think that looks pretty good. Like, a lot of people are talking pretty highly about it. But then right after that, 10 days later, Tears of the Kingdom. I think that's going to be my next one where it's like, okay, dropping everything, and this is what is happening.
Question. Are you taking a PTO day?
I should, but probably not.
Okay.
I think I think
might
I'm doing
just happen to fall ill,
Like, it's a Friday. I think I'm already traveling, honestly.
Okay.
I think we've got like a wedding maybe, or something is around that time. So this might be one of those things where, hey, passenger seat gaming. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not driving.
Usually I am, but you know what? Today, on May 12th, I gotta save a kingdom, everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's too late. They're already crying.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, Matt, it's funny you brought up Chia that you drafted, and then you mentioned it's like Stray, because I finished Stray myself.
Oh, wow.
Because that was on my list to do. Obviously I am trying to go through all of the game of the years for 2022 that were nominated. And so Stray was one of them that I haven't played yet. So I got through it. I'd say I don't recommend anyone buy this game, mostly because as a game, I don't think there's a lot there.
Okay.
But if you have access to a service, which it is available on, namely PlayStation Plus Extra, and I'm not sure if it's on Game Pass, or I don't think it's on Xbox at all.
I don't think it's on Xbox.
But if you can find it somewhere where it is free to you via legal means, I'd recommend it at that point. But I think even though it is a $40 game, full price, that while I can see maybe why it was nominated, because it feels like it leans more into the artistic perspective, and just as playing as a cat game, it's very blatantly obvious to be like, yeah, if you love cats, this is the cat game, right? Because it is more so simulating what it's like to be a cat than any other game that's come before, right? It's not like a cat RPG, it's not Cat Quest 2 or anything. But I enjoyed it for what it's worth. I think what I also liked about it was fairly short, so it only took me around like 3-4 hours to like play the whole thing from start to finish. And so that was something that was nice, just as a palate cleanser, right? To be able to like get through this, finish it, be done. Because on top of that, the game that's currently consuming my time is Octopath Traveler 2.
Nice.
And, just as you said, that's the Psych Odyssey documentary is going to be in your discussions at the end of the year. Octopath 2 is going to be in my discussions for the end of the year. Mostly because it's just hitting that nice JRPG spot, right? Like this is, it's a long game. I'm 30 hours in, I think 31 hours in, but I think I'm only halfway. And it is that game where it's going to take me at least another 20-30 hours probably to get through the rest of it, but I'm not hating it because I'm really enjoying it. It does a lot of good improvements over the first game, namely being there are cross character chapters. So the first game, there weren't really any direct interactions between the 8 party members, but now they've made dedicated story events where it involves like pairs of characters, and it's really them nice. Like actually, more traditional RPG style of being like, hey, I need your help, or like, hey, here's some advice, blah, blah, blah. So there's that. And then also, as I feel like a lot of turn-based games should have as an option, accelerated game combat. You can hit ×2 speed up those animations. The first game didn't have this on Switch, and sometimes, when you're playing all these turn-based battles, and especially when you're trying to farm, it takes a lot of extra time, because I think for me, the first game I beat after playing for roughly like 50 some hours, and I didn't even do the true final ending for the Octopath 1. And so having this sped up combat, having just a lot of niceties that they've added, quality of life improvements, makes this a much more enjoyable experience. And so, it's going to be up there. I'm really digging the music. I'm really digging the presentation. And just from a story perspective, there are a lot of fun things about it, namely being the cleric, who, in the first game is more of a traditional, kind of healer type character that's like all about being nice. That's about like being giving, being protective, supporting people. In this case, the cleric is now kind of like a Sherlock Holmes-esque character. Where he's more of a, detective style, where he's seeing these events happen. He's critically analyzing things. It does some weird like spirit ghost like recreations of scenes where it's like, this is the aftermath, but now I'm like in my inner mind, I can see what happened like beforehand. And what makes it even more of a nod to that character is one of the characters in his story is named Crick. And so, that being a direct relation right to Watson Crick. And so there being this kind of like fun dichotomy where really his tone of story is so different from they're all very unique stories, but him in particular, I'm so enamored by being like, I really want to know what happens in your story. I mean, I'm loving all of it, but your story in particular is so different than even the first game that I really appreciate like what they're doing from a writing perspective to have this kind of like, oh, we have the same 8 core jobs, right? Like it's the same warrior, apothecary, right? Same everything from the first game, but we're not repeating similar tropes. Like we want to turn that on its head. So I'm really enjoying that from that perspective. Albeit it is taking me away from things that I do want to get to, right? Namely, right, Matt, we both started One Piece Odyssey, and so that's something I have not touched since having bought it, but I do want to get back to it. How right, I got through hundreds of episodes of the anime just so I could play it. So there is kind of a soft spot in my heart to be like, I need to get through this so I can get back to that. But also Like a Dragon Ishin that came out right before Octopath 2. So I just ended up playing Octopath 2 beforehand, so I need to get to that. But for me, since you guys talked about the next new game that's coming out, mine is actually a DLC that I really want to get, and that's the Burning Shores, which is the Horizon Forbidden West DLC. That comes out in April. Oh. And, it's $20. I don't know how long it is, but I loved Forbidden West, right? It was on my list for top 2022 experiences. But in terms of other things, I'm not really a Resident Evil fan. I'm not here to downtry anything. It looks great. I'm excited to see other people play, right? See people's feedback on it. It's already got a lot of 10s. Matt's reaping in the open critic points. I think it's sitting at like a 92 right now in open critic.
Dang.
So that's a lot of points for him. But yeah, excited for Burning Shores. It's PS5 only, so a PSA to people that played Forbidden West on PS4, you cannot play the DLC, unfortunately. But I'm interested to see what that allows them to do, at least in terms of maybe spectacle, maybe set piece moments. And so I'm really excited to play that, because I know for some other games I've kind of missed out on DLC. Like I didn't play the Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima just because that was kind of at that weird time where other things were out. But since this is coming out kind of in an isolate period, I definitely want to get to it, because they also said it takes place right after the end of Forbidden West. So also as a PSA, you need to finish Forbidden West in order to do the DLC. So in case you wanted to play it just for the DLC, because it's taking place in Southern California, you won't be able to do that unless you have a save that's finished the game. But I'm excited to see what happens, because definitely, they destroyed Hollywood sign. And so I'm really interested to see how they show the terrain and everything, because how they did Northern California and Forbidden West was really cool to see, with, the Golden Gate Bridge being collapsed and, traveling through the Rocky Mountains and everything. So, yep.
I feel like Horizon, the DLC for the first game, was awesome. And it also had so much implications for the story of the second one. So I'd be interested in that. Yasser and I do a lot of game sharing, and we actually have Horizon Forbidden West. It is something that is on my list of, I have not downloaded it yet, but it's one of those things where if I can get through Wolong, and I'm pretty far in it, like I'm probably halfway, and I'm having a pretty easy time with most of the bosses. I've run up into everybody's like worst boss. Like everybody says like, oh, like just wait till you get to Lubu. Like every podcast I've listened to, they're like, wait till you get to Lubu, wait till you get to Lubu. I'm at Lubu. I've died to Lubu like 30 times.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe not 30 times, but like probably 10, which I'm like usually beating bosses within a couple tries or first try for most of these. I don't think it's like been a tough game as of so far. So hopefully as soon as I beat Lubu, hopefully in the next couple days, I will get through Wolong. I'm really enjoying it. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, with this DLC that's coming out and like the zeitgeist is happening again, should I do it now? Should I play Horizon? Because I really enjoyed that game. It's just I need to get through where it's like I'm not playing a open world game right before Horizon. And like Wolong is mission based, very linear. It might be like the prime time, but it also might be one of those things if I stick around too long, My open world game might be Tears of the Kingdom. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. That's true. So
Horizon will be there for you later.
That's
in
true.
case you don't get to it now.
I am in the middle of, other than Mandalorian, that and I guess The Last of Us. I started Shadow and Bone season 2. And
what do you think?
I love it. Like, I've seen 2 episodes. The 2 episodes were very strong. It's like, let's just go. I love that Netflix has a recap feature. They had like a 5-minute like recap at the beginning of the show. Like, I don't think the show was even playing. Like, I don't think episode 1 was even playing, but it was like skip recap if you wanted to. So I don't even like, it might have been a separate clip that just played beforehand. But I'm very much in. I am going to hopefully finish the rest this weekend. That's what I'm hoping.
Cool. I'm trying to get Maddie to watch season 1.
Oh yeah.
Because we watched like a little clip of it. And I think she'd get into it because it's awesome. Like yeah, definitely. It's just one of those things where she needs the time to kind of like sit down and like watch it. So I wanted to start watching it, just like see the first episode. But I might just wait. Like I think she could probably get through it pretty quick. Because I don't remember it taking that long to binge it when I did it.
It was 8. Like, it's 8 episodes. Like
once you got in, you were in, and it was like comfort food, like easy to digest. It was like, I understand all these concepts. I've seen them in different things, but like this is a cool way. Okay, cool. I like these characters. I'm very excited. Very, very excited to watch Shadow and Bone season 2. It's like taunting me every time I go on Netflix. It's just there.
It's like continue
hey,
watch. Yeah.
For you. Yeah. Hey, over here. It's like, I know Netflix. I know it's for me. Just give me a moment.
Yeah. I'm in. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really bummed because I finally thought I was going to step back into the anime train, because I've encountered or I've met a lot of people recently that actually like actively watch anime, and I finally was gonna watch Spy Family, and I think Netflix took it down. Like, I don't think Netflix has Spy Family anymore, and I'm very sad about it.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Spy Family.
Well, I heard it's gotten some internet buzz. Like, I mean, obviously, like, it was kind of popular enough to get on Netflix in the first place, but I guess they just like decided to take it away. But for my very limited understanding of the show, Matt, is that there's literally this male spy and female spy that don't know that each other are spies, but like one of them creates the fake like a fake family for hire, and like there's a little girl that they like pretend is their daughter, who is potentially a telepath and knows that her fake parents are spies, but the parents don't know that each other are spies. And it's them just like being like actiony / I don't know if it's any comedy. Like, it sounds like potentially there's comedy, but I don't know. Audience, you can write in and let us know if I'm completely off base here. But
it sounds cool.
Yeah, the art looks really cute, and like it sounds fun, and people like it. So like I was like, maybe I should watch it. But now I can't.
Interesting.
Because I don't know where it is.
I'm like, I know. Is it?
It's Spy X.
I think it's on Hulu.
Oh, dang it. I don't have Hulu.
So it looks like they pulled it because they may not have yet acquired the rights. So it might be waiting for it to go off Hulu. I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's really sad.
That is sad.
That's weird that they would post it and then realize, oh, wait. We can't do this. This is kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Netflix. Like, it was there.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, it just retired. I thought they just retired it or something. You know how they go through their library?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's that. Oh,
cool.
And I guess we did watch a big old movie. We watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in this last month. Yeah, Matt's like, what movie? That wasn't
Alex,
movie.
what did you think about it?
He has not seen it yet.
I have not seen it. I'm waiting for that Disney
Oh,
Plus
you were
release.
talking about me and you.
Yeah.
I thought when you guys visited with each other, I
No.
thought you dragged him to the theater. And I was like, oh, cool.
No.
Yeah, we did. We did watch Ant-Man Quantumania.
I definitely enjoyed some of it, and then a lot of WTF moments for other. But like in general, I thought it was good. Like middle of the pack, because we have like 40 movies now. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think it was that bad. Like I was like, oh, it was fun.
Yeah, it was mostly a good time. I did not care for like their play on like character development or lack thereof, like throughout it. I think that Kang was my favorite part, and like I don't think that's a unique take. I think
I
he's
loved
great.
Scott.
Jonathan
though.
Majors is awesome. I just didn't like. The more I thought about it, I think I was pretty high on it compared to other people that we watched it with when it happened. Because usually I feel like I'm like a Debbie Downer when it comes to like Marvel movies.
At least in this phase.
And I was like, this is fine. Like this is fine. The more I thought about it, I was like, he didn't really do his thing. Like he was basically just a dude the entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because like they shrunk him down into Quantumania. So there's all these crazy things happening around him. And this dude that can shrink or get bigger is like the most normal thing in this universe. Maybe it just like diluted the impact of Ant-Man. But for me, it was just like, he didn't even like, when he was fighting Kang, it like turned into a boxing match. Like it didn't even like, he didn't really utilize his powers that much.
Yeah.
It was just like very interesting. But I think Kang is awesome. I think Jonathan Majors is here to stay. And I think, there's implications to confirm that, which like everybody knows. I think that is great because I think that he can pull it off. And it sounds like from just like interviews and kind of me thinking more about what this is going to, like all of these different Kangs, like Kangs everywhere, right? We've already seen 2 different Kangs, one in Loki, one in Quantumania. And then, there's probably going to be another Kang in other projects. He's acting them in a different way. Like, it's almost like they've given him full ownership. Just like, hey, you've got to be Kang, but like with a different spin on it. And I think he's owning it and like rocking it. So I'm really excited to kind of see where he goes from there. But I don't know. It's one of those movies where I'm like, I'm more excited for movies after this because of this, not as excited for this movie in particular.
Honestly though, one of the biggest things that I am excited for in relation to this movie is that the whole like part of the bit of or a bit in this movie is like he's now an autobiographer, and Disney is publishing a real quote unquote real version of his autobiography. Like the writer is pretending to be Scott Lang and wrote a book. Or a group of people wrote this book. I have no idea.
Are you gonna get it?
Yeah, I'm getting it, and it's gotten. It's me asking for a favor and getting this book from the source. We're not going to divulge any sources, but I'm getting the
How long have you known Paul Rudd?
We're trying.
I know you're talking about a source.
I go to his candy store in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a frequenter there.
Okay.
They're tight.
Yeah. But I'm so excited to read that book. Matt, you're gonna see me blow through it on Goodreads. It's just gonna be like read, then or reading, and then immediately read. I'm excited for it.
All I'm finding out is because now I have a Goodreads, is that a lot of my friends read a lot. And I feel kind of inadequate because you guys blow through some books. I am halfway through Hail Mary, and it is awesome. I'm just saying, like, it is fantastic. My cup of tea. Really fun. Just enough science. Like a beautiful, like,
just enough
rendition
adventure.
of the scientific method.
Yeah.
To, like, make me as, like, a science guy just, like, love it. And the entire time, I'm like, this is going to make a great movie.
Yeah, hell yes.
I am excited for this to be a good movie.
I'm gonna go see it.
And can't wait. So I'm not going to say more because I believe that Alex is going to read this one day. and I don't want to give
or I
anything.
could just watch it.
Matt.
Well, that's true. Hey, listen, I'm not going to down you on that because that's been my life.
Okay, if you want your next book, The Martian, same author, or did you not like the movie, or did you see the movie and like not?
I really like the movie.
Oh, okay.
I really like the movie.
But you've already seen the movie, so you might be less inclined to potentially read the book.
So, I feel like I got to be real with you guys.
Be real.
My goal is 12 books in a year, and we are getting dangerously close to being done with the third month of the year. And this is the only book that I've read. So I think I might need to be more strategic on which books I read. So I don't know how big The Martian is, but like this is like a pretty chunky book. Like it's 475 pages, like 475 pages. I think if I gave it more time that like I could rock it out. But there's definitely some books on like my bookshelf that I've bought in the past that I have been meaning to read, like Ask Iwata.
Oh yeah,
like talking about like one of the old bosses from Nintendo.
Yeah,
like there's certain maybe a little bit smaller, like maybe 200, 300 pages that I have been meaning to maybe do first. But I've had multiple people say, "Oh, if you like that, you definitely need to read The Martian." Yeah. So it's probably inevitable. I'll probably read The Martian at some point this year.
I just checked.
As Thanos would say.
It's 384 pages.
Okay, so that's less. That's less than Hail Mary. So
that is less.
I'll take it. Okay, so maybe I'll do it. Cool.
Yeah, that's like 100 pages less.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Oh yeah, Ask Iwata. Definitely let me know if that's good. I've been interested in that book and in Reggie Fils-Aimé's book, Disrupting the Game.
Yeah.
And then even like Bob Iger's book about Disney. Like him being a CEO. So I am intrigued, but I have yet to dabble because I know one of Alex's like freaking counter challenges was to read a non-fiction book. And I was like, what is your problem?
No, just adaptive challenge.
Whatever.
I did see, and this is all what I really like about Goodreads is that you could just like pull up random genres and like see books that have come out and like different recommendations. I did see and I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy that played Draco Malfoy.
Yes. Beyond the Wizard, that book, Tom Felton.
Tom Felton, yeah. It's been getting a lot of really good ratings and stuff, and if it has anything to do with just like jumping into that world of what it felt like being a child actor going through that. That might be something for you to read.
That's true.
Like
Beyond the Wand. Sorry, not Beyond the Wizard.
Beyond the Wand. Okay, yeah.
The Wand.
Look at me, knowing books.
Yeah, giving out recs. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
That goal episode, it's going to do dividends. Now, if we could only get started on Persona 5 Royal.
Don't
speak
into. Don't remind the audience.
But you know what the motto of Persona 5 is.
What is it?
Take your time.
Oh, that is true.
Then I gotta get started.
That's true.
I actually did give myself like a pep talk about it because the first day in Persona 5 Royal is sometime in April. Like it's like April 9th. So maybe that's just the time to where I'm going to restart. We'll see. Cool. All right. Look, this has become a pretty chunky episode. Is there anything else you guys just want to give a quick shout out? We kind of been jumping all around. Alex, Tiffany, you don't have to.
I'm holding it in.
You're holding it in.
I'll shout out.
Okay, Alex.
So as Matt mentioned, Tiffany and I, we traveled. We traveled. We went to New York City.
Big Apple.
And
nice.
I saw my first play on Broadway.
Cool. Which one?
And the Book of Mormon.
Oh, nice. Would you recommend it?
I would say I recommend it only with the caveat that some of the jokes don't age well, especially in this 2023 climate. But besides that, I'd say generally it's still a fun time. A lot of great songs that do age well. And also just it was a great experience. It being my first play on Broadway that I got to see definitely was a good time. So no regrets there. But yeah.
Cool. That sounds good. That sounds like a wrap, everybody. This has been episode 79 of the RXP podcast. Listen, it's been a while. It's been over a month since we've been recording. It's been even longer since we've heard from you all. So reach out on Gmail, rxp.podcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, rxp_podcast. Or hey, you're watching this on YouTube. Like, subscribe, do all those things, the bells, the whistles, everything.
Yeah. Help us with the algorithm.
Yeah, help us with the algorithm. Help us help you. Do all those things. And we'll see you next time. Tell us all about the things that you've been playing. But as far as we are concerned, have a great rest of your day. Shout out to Grandmaster Doug. And we will see you next time. What is a toad?
They're tight.